Hi, this is Becky with Icing on Top Becky's Cakes, and today I'm going to show you how to make a drip cake. I'm going to do the drip portion of the cake in this tutorial, and I did the anti-gravity tutorial and the buttercream stripes as well. So whichever part of this tutorial you want to see, or if you want to see them all, that's what I'm going to show you today. Now I have a little scale here to make sure I get the exact right amount. It's just a little kitchen scale. I'm going to zero it out when I put the bowl on and pour some water in. And I only want a little over 3 ounces of water. And the reason I only want 3 ounces is because you always want to do it at a 1-to-3 ratio, the liquid and the chocolate. So I'm using 10 ounces of these mini chocolate chips. You can also just use regular sized chocolate chips. I use the minis because that's what I have on hand. And what I did is I put them in the microwave just for 30 seconds. So they're not all melted yet. But the water I heated until it was simmering. So I poured the water in, and now I'm just gonna make sure that all those mini chocolate chips are completely covered. Or if you have regular chocolate chips, just make sure those are completely covered. This also works great with white chocolate chips. If you're trying to make a white drip or a colored drip, I would also add the gel food coloring into whatever liquid I'm doing and do that. Now, the reason I'm stirring is because I've let it sit for 5 minutes. So I've come back and I've let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and now I'm going to stir it. Just letting it sit. That's one of the important things, is patience in a drip cake. If you don't have patience, then this can go wrong in so many ways. But if you patiently wait those 5 to 10 minutes, letting that hot liquid sit on your chocolate chips, it's going to melt enough, and then you can stir it and make it a really smooth drip. Now I use a whisk when I'm stirring, just because it really helps mix it up here. Now I used water. You can also use cream, or you can use milk as your liquid, whatever liquid you're wanting to use. And like I said, if I was coloring white chocolates, I would put the gel in with the liquid, and then I would add it together like this, because chocolate will seize up with liquid. But of course, if you're adding liquid in this amount, that's why I let it sit there for a while, let it thoroughly melt the chocolate before I start the mixing process. Now, if you have any lumps in it at this point, just stick this back in the microwave for 30 seconds and then mix it again. And then after it is completely cooled, we do not want to get this anywhere near the cake when it is warm. We want it cooled to at least to 90 degrees, only slightly above room temperature. And I am pouring this ganache right into a pastry bag. The pastry bag is really going to help me control the drips. And for the top, though, I can just pour that straight onto the cake, and then I'm going to smooth it with my offset spatula. But for the drip part of it, I put it in that piping bag, because that just helps me control where my drips are, how long my drips are going to be, and it keeps it from getting all messy and all over the place with your drips. Also very important is I had put this cake in the fridge for at least an hour to make sure it's completely well chilled before putting the drip on. That way the chocolate will harden as you're dripping it down and make the whole process go so much more smoothly. Now I'm moving around this drip here, and sometimes it's a little easier without the obstacle in the way, my obstacle being a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups. But I will show you that in your tutorial on how I did the anti-gravity effect with the Reese's peanut butter cups. But yes, we're just gonna work around that. I'm gonna add a little more ganache to the top of the cake, and then we'll smooth that around thoroughly, and then we're going to add the drips. And if you want to see how I did the stripe effect with my peanut butter buttercream and chocolate buttercream, you can check out that tutorial. Stripes are a fun element, and I enjoy doing that part. I also put my recipes of the peanut butter filling that's in this cake and the peanut butter buttercream. They're also on my channel. So now I've got my piping bag. I'm just going to cut off a small portion of the tip. Now it's gonna drip right out because of gravity, so you gotta make sure you keep it upright until you get it on the cake here. I'm just filling in the gaps on the top first before I start dripping it down the sides. And having it in a little baggie also helps, you know, as I was saying, it controls the drip. So you can start making a little drip down the side, and then you can make a longer one next to it, and it just depends on how long you let the chocolate sit on that side. So I let it go a little ways, and then I turn it, and you can already see I'm starting to get some down the sides, but right now I'm just making sure I get all the chocolate all the way to the edge before I start doing the sides here. Just gonna smooth that out a little bit while it is still nice and wet, so that if I try to do this when it's dry, you're not gonna be able to do that, so that's why I paused on my dripping to smooth this a little bit first. I'm going to take it right to the edge. I'm going to add a little bit of a drip and then turn and then add a drip. And you got to keep in mind that it's going to start dripping down the cake, so you want it to not give too much pressure or too much chocolate in one place, otherwise it'll reach all the way to the bottom of the cake. And while we do want some of those drips to be longer, we don't want them touching the bottom of the cake board. So I'm going to let some of them go longer, and then I'm gonna have some nice shorter ones here. And it's a fun, I love drip cakes. They just add a fun element and just makes it look so yummy. But yeah, it really is yummy. I'm a chocolate fan, so. But drip cakes are really very simple as long as you have patience and you don't put it on when your chocolate is too hot, because then it'll just drip straight down your cake. You won't have nice drips, and that's one way to fail. Or you wait too long. You walk away, you get busy doing something else, you come back. It's like, oh, this is kind of thick now. Should I put it on anyway? Don't do it. Don't put it on anyway. Put it in the microwave and wait till it gets back to about 90 degrees before you do that. Otherwise, it'll be too thick of drips and it just won't look nice. It won't be that nice shiny drip look that you're looking for. But thanks for doing this tutorial with me. And if you want to check out how I did the buttercream stripes or how I did the anti-gravity effect, please check out those tutorials and please subscribe to my channel.